Right. I had to reboot. Some really strange reason. What is all down? I should read my email, but probably not now. Pretty sure I had still enough to fill the whole window. Why is it suddenly almost nothing anymore? Okay. I'm going to look at this one. The question is, when does this happen? Does it ever happen? I haven't run into it. Is this at all possible? Shader resource declaration context iter is unequal shader input data set index hint to shader resource declaration context end. Okay. Ah, there is A45. Yeah, well, not consistent. Oh, I read persistent. I don't know. I just randomly sign on. Okay, well, I want to get rid of all those FIXMEs, so I have to answer this question, I guess. Put some time into it. What does it mean? We are finding something, and then if it is unequal end, it means that we did find it. So this assert basically says that whatever we try to find should be there. What we're trying to find is the set index hint, and we are trying to find it in this, whatever that may be. Hello, Emrian. My distro is Arch. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why people ask it. Any random distro would look the same. Can I ask you why you want to know my distribution? Is it because what you see, or is it because you think if Carlo runs it, then it must be good? I mean, or just curiosity, you know, what distribution is he using? I'm going to not look at this. Okay, let me think. So the question is, when does this happen? Means when do we not find set index hints? What is set index hint then? Set index hint is this thing. Yeah, this is this difficult code that I worked 2 weeks on or something like that. Probably not going to be easy. Okay, I'll just have to follow stuff, I guess. Shader resource declaration pointer set index int. That is a pointer to the corresponding shader resource declaration that contains, for example, set index and descriptor type. I do not have enough comments, damn it. It's not enough comments at all. For example, what is a shader resource variable? Right, I should write a readme and document this better before have forgotten 100% of it instead of only 98%. But I have the habit to never find my readmes back, or later don't think that my readmes are very understandable, unfortunately. But how many readmes do I have at the moment? I guess this belongs sort of in Shadow Builder at most, so if I already have a readme about it, then it is one of these three. Let's see what is in this. This is pretty much on topic. It seems to be on topic, but what about the other things? Internals. Okay, this is about shadow memory layout. That's not it. This is also on topic. It has become a little bit old though. Going to, I think, rework the readmes to make them up to date or something. No, wait, this thing was starting the top position. That is window. Or not. Is this thing still used? Is it still used? And top buffer. I mean, it's called on top buffer, yeah. It is used, although, what is this? Entering add uniform buffer. It just prints out the name. Well, okay. There we have it again, which is set key to shader resource declaration, try in place. I think it's the same thing. It's a reference to object name, object name, object name. It's being printed a lot. Did I get around or not? It's 62%, yeah, probably around. Actually 5%. Oh, here it's actually printed. Maybe that's what I should look for. Yeah, really. Oh, it is being used. It's being used as an MBFix name for real. Still think it's kind of weird, or isn't it? Uh-huh, okay. So this one is not used. That's probably, at least, not used. Thank you, Heratin. I'm going to run it again and close it again and look at the file again. Or just run this. Holy moly, it's being used. What am I doing wrong? Oh, top buffer. That's not smart. These are those loose ends which if you feel like, well, the program is running, so why would I fix it? If nothing is crashing and the program is working. But if you leave them, they mount up and they become more and more and more. So I always feel like I have to put time into cleaning it up. Well, I'm seeing this string here. I'll have to filter that one out as well. And there's only one left. When printing base acquire create log. Start looking at that one. This prints mbfix object name. Yeah, okay. And that is the base. So the reason that it is being printed is because I don't know if it is a texture or not. Apparently I'm needing it for the uniform buffers. But hey, then again, I'm using it here, so I need it also for textures. I see what I do. I'm actually using it as opposed to just using it once to set the debug name, the vulkan debug name, for the validation layers. I'm using it here as a human readable string to recognize what we're doing here. Otherwise, I would just have to print God knows what, with this pointer, I guess. I'm already printing that. So I guess I could just remove it, only print this pointer. Definitely an option. Printing this pointer of shader resource based classes. That was definitely a new thing. Would it be too bad to have a debug name for it? Okay, dubious, but possible. It is not printed. And there is another one where I'm printing it. Same story. Just not printed here. I can print it this pointer as well here. That's for everything really. Oh, yeah. MBFix. Okay. What else we have? Just printing object names. So that I remove this. Loads have been gone, and then the final thing was basically this. Thing that I filtered out. Where is it? Pipeline factory. That's a weird one. That probably comes from an ambifix prefix thing. I think I better look for text that is printed that is using it. See, the resource is loads of them. See the resource. See the resource blah 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 has set index. Definitely. There's another one that's also interesting. Create release grid log. What the hell is that? I guess MBFix is being prepended with something at some point. Add MBFix is being called with pipeline. Yeah, the main question here is, I think that oh, yeah, well, whatever. So the main question is if it is still being used to actually set the debug name or not. How can I figure that out? Okay, if I rename it, then I have to rename this as well, which means that it's being used here, actually being used. And of course, this is using it. This is just a constructor, this is just setting it right, so it's not really important to track. Then we are printing it. And printing it again. And again. And that's it. Go to the CXX file, printing it again. That means that now we have two functions. Stack Overflow, yes. CPP reference.com and Stack Overflow. which is the only size you need. No member named mbfix in Vulkan shader builder shader resource base. Well, this is again just printing. Printing. Usually I search for things without asking questions for at least a day, maybe 2 days. And only when I really get stuck, and I mean, yeah, multiple days get stuck, then I write a Stack Overflow question for it. Because you have to put a lot of work into writing a question. So I really must have the feeling that it is worthwhile doing. More often than not, I am looking for something. I mean, I can search Stack Overflow, of course, for something I need without asking a question, just to see if it exists. I do that quite quick. And then if there's no answer, no good answer, or no answer at all, and then I start putting several days, up to several days, into researching it myself. And if I succeed in that, then I usually write an answer to the questions that I found that didn't have a good answer. So then I did literally put days of research into that answer, but I did it for myself, not for the one that asked the question. And those questions are often a year old or 5 years old, I don't care. So here we have the add mbfix, yes, for the pipeline factory. That's adding the prefix. And another one apparently. And then it's being used. Yeah, so is this not possible that I just don't have the mbfix here? I would have to change pass it to this create instead. If that's possible, so let's try that. Or rather, I would like to know where else it is being used. Then I have to remember this. Yes, it compiles. So what we could do is try to pass it to this function instead. See where that is called from. Oh, well, it was a virtual function. Yeah, not sure who's calling this. Probably should not know an ambifix at that point. There's my delete. So this is still being used. I did a grep for delete in the debug output though. Didn't see it. VI, did you mean create 2? Yes, I did. The question is, can I pass my ambifix to the create to calls? Seems to be only one, or am I crazy? Declaration, 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 and or definition. This is the only one, okay. And here we are inside pipeline, check input data. Wow, that's interesting. Create it. I could pass, I should pass. No, wait. It all depends on where this is going to be stored, right? Create sounds like it's going to create something. And I bet we also store the pointer to whatever we create. The big question is then, where is that being stored? In shader resource, I would say. It doesn't create anything. Therefore, we do not need an ambifix. So that is the only problem. It is a problem because this actually creates something. I don't see it create anything, I have to admit. It doesn't emplace back. Uniform buffers, what is that? Is a member of uniform buffer base. Uniform buffer. Should be this thing. I'm guessing it's going to use this constructor. Oh, it wasn't a placeback. Yeah, and placeback calls just pass the constructor arguments, among which then we have to pass an ambifix for the debug name. And that ambifix is passed to the buffer as well as nothing else. It's just passed to the buffer. So here it is used. Are we getting somewhere? Okay, it's storing that the debug name is ambifix.objectname.mvh buffer, because that's where we store it. So the ambifix must be the name of the current object then, which is this buffer. But it's a base class of the uniform buffer, so it's also this uniform buffer. Which is an element of M uniform buffers. So this appends the index of whatever it is to .m uniform buffers. I don't see that happening here. Seems to be missing. Seems to be missing to me. So then the ambifix here must be equal to the name of whichever object contains M uniform buffers, which is the uniform buffer base. Right, well, we are calling create on it. So that would be here. So that is this object, which is a shader resource, which we are getting from the M-acquired shader resource list. Oh, and then I need to know what that is. Hopefully a vector. It is a vector, but without an index. Is that problematic? I don't think so. So for ambifix purposes then I would need to have a counter. So theoretically, if I wanted to do this, and I think I do, then I need to pass comma C W debug only. Some string plus some ambifix, where the string is dot required stuff plus toString index. Well, with brackets around it. Because that's where we are storing it. Well, that is the object. I'm passing the name of the object, which is this element of this vector. But, well, that needs to be passed here, apparently. And then ambifix must be equal to the name of the current object. Which is a shader input data thing. Thank you, Debug, if you're still there. Man, that's a lot of debug stuff. This function is again called from somewhere. I don't even think the shader input data is surviving that long, is it? It has to be, if it stores. No, you can hardly imagine that. It stores my uniform buffers. They of course have to keep existing for a long, long time. So in the end I want it to be part of my window or something like that. So I think the shader input data is part of a pipeline factory, which are very limited in lifetime. Something went wrong. On the other hand, I already had pipeline. It's not here. There's a prefix in front of it. Let's try this out, see what happens. In the end, this is a better solution anyway than what I had, because that was just saying some pipeline has this, and now I added more information. Where's my cursor? Oh, there. So we want this to work. Create 2 now needs to take an ambifex. It's kind of strange, so I can hardly believe that this is correct. Oh, wait a minute. I think that the shader resource was added as a pointer, right? Yeah, I think so. So somewhere in my code I have add uniform buffer. Let's say here. So this is the shader input data. And then we call add uniform buffer with a reference to the uniform buffer base. And then the creation is done by passing a pointer to the thing. At least we request shader resource creation by passing a pointer to whatever was passed to add uniform buffer. And this then adds it to that list. As a pointer. I should have seen that. Yeah, it is a pointer. Yeah. So in fact, the uniform buffer base, or the base, whatever, is a member of the window. Now I would say pass here an ambifex that points back to the window, but yeah, this is user code. Can I demand that the user code does that? The user is doing that. So maybe instead of saying it is this window by pointer and this member by name, I can just use a user-defined debug name for this object. Then I don't know which window it was anymore, but that's probably not really that bad. point being that that debug name then is specified here. So we just get m top buffer and then not the window in front of it, which would be confusing, I think, if you would have multiple windows and stuff like that. But yeah, the alternative would be to demand that the user would pass an ambifix here. Would have to pass an ambifix. I guess I could demand that they pass the window pointer, even without debugging code. Pretty sure later on I saw the owning window pop up anyway. I'd rather use that maybe then. So if I leave this the way it is without an ambifix, then at least I do need a debug name, but okay, so the debug name is stored in here. It's stored in the base as an ambifix. I don't want that. How exactly is it stored? Totally in the wrong file. This must be the one. Debug name, which then is stored as in is passed to base, I guess. As debug name, and I'm storing that in ambifix. So I do not want to do that. I just want to continue using a debug name then. Okay, now all the things I just showed in the last, I don't know, 20 minutes must be in my memory, but I'm not aware of it. Just now I reached the endpoint and now I want to track back and make all the changes that are required. And the funny thing is, if I try to remember anything, I don't know. But I'm going to do this without remembering everything, and then that still works. So I don't know. Let's have a look how that works. The point is that now I figured out that I do not want to have mbfix2. I just want to have debug name. Okay. Well, that of course means that we don't have this anymore. This is mbfix2. I just deleted it. This becomes debug name. And the type must be a character const pointer. And since I do not have mbfix2 anymore, well, that doesn't require any remembering, and you can just delete this because I don't have it anymore. And I cannot print it anymore. I cannot print it anymore here. And I cannot print it anymore here. What I could do, however, I'm deleting this, I could print, I mean, now I'm just printing this pointer, but we do have a debug name. I could print a debug name. Just a debug name. That's maybe better than nothing. At this point it should be enough though. Now let's stick to be consistent. Everywhere else I'm just printing this pointer, so it should be enough. Except that I want, if I don't go search for that pointer, it should run into the debug name, I think. So that means that at the moment of creation, aka the constructor of this thing, I should link them. So that means that we have entering here for, what am I printing into? Notice? You're gonna be kidding me. For some reason I'm using notice. Can't be right, but okay. So I'm calling base and just print the descriptor set key as well as the debug name. Well, called with debug name. Which is your character const pointer? Let's just print it as a string. Between quotes. I have a trick for that, by the way. I have a quoted string thing. Quoted string. Yeah, there it is. Which works as follows. I use print string. So print string is a if you want to print a character const pointer, and then the quoted string is constructed from that, which is just a wrapper around the character const pointer. And then we have the operator less and less than that prints that thing, which is then printed as follows. If there's a null string, it prints null pointer, and otherwise it already puts quotes around it. So it's you know, slightly better. So we don't need a quote, just we do print string here. And don't need quotes. So hello, Barros. Okay. Yeah, well, maybe I would also have to print now when it is destructed. It's kind of a good habit, I thought. If you print when the constructor is called, you should also print it when the destructor is called. On the other hand, I do not call constructor, move constructors, whatever. I mean, if I would call this, and even this pointer changes. I'm going to be lazy, I think. It's not that urgent to get this fully documented in the debug output what happens to this object. It's semantics. The reference is basically a pointer that cannot be changed, so it's a const. The pointer is const. And for the rest, there's only semantic differences, syntactical difference. I think that while there is a few minor differences also in things that you can do with a reference that you cannot do with a pointer. For example, you can pass temporary to a const reference. And you cannot take the pointer of a temporary, so you cannot pass it to a pointer. Yeah, see, now I've got what I was doing. This whole string of things in my memory that I can that I'm not aware, but that I want to play back, doesn't work well with reacting to the chat. What was I doing? Well, I don't know anymore, but one thing where I can pick it up anyway is that I removed all ambifix2s. Ambifix. Seriously, there's only one left. This also does not exist anymore. That's the accessor of the ambifix. I think I have to pass it here. I think the idea was that I was passing it to the create function, right? So no more function. And then I'm adding it here. CW debug only. Ambifix. Which is passed as a const reference, I think. Ambifix. And it is a virtual function, you can see because of the override here. So I'll have to change it in the base class as well. That it just jump to. Nobody knows what happened. Gonna jump to create 2. Next. So there's another one that we want. I should not have highlighted it. See yeah, what was it? Comma. CW debug only. Bfix const reference. Bfix, which subsequently isn't being used. There is no creation here. Oh, okay. See, here we do an attempt to add the owning window stuff. But well, yeah. I mean, unused arc is just a macro that is empty. Just removes this. Otherwise you get a warning, compiler warning, that you have an argument you don't use, but if you only have the type and not the argument name, then you do not get that one. Okay, so let's copy this and add also to the base class, or did I already do that? Create 2. I did not. Okay, now completely lost it, so really I have no idea what I was doing. So now we're going to lots of changes. I could look at the git diff. That's another way. Or I could compile and then look at the compile errors. Let's look at the diff. Okay, so we added an index here, which is only exists while debugging and is incremented here. So I can add that as a index to wherever I think I'm storing it. But this was incorrect. I'm not really storing it inside here. This is a base pointer. Wait a minute, how this work? Okay, I'm still confused about this one. Gonna look at the rest first. So this function, this does not exist. I still have to look for all the ambifix2 calls. Yeah, I can either print this pointer or I can print the name, or both. I guess I'm gonna print both. So let's do something like shader resource, which is then the pointer, and then I'm adding just get the debug name here. And let's print that as a string. String. So debug name just returns a character const pointer again, so just a simple accessor. Put it on a new line. I must say, usually, or yeah, at some point at least, I wanted to have absolutely everything be English sentences. That is, they start with the uppercase and they end with the dot. But I must say, sometimes it's hard to pollute your code with stuff like this, just to have that dot. So then I'm still guilty of not doing that. And I must say, in a lot of places. Also, when you start with a variable name or function name or whatever, then you don't start with an uppercase anyway. And then I don't add a dot. And now I have a string anyway, because I need to end it with a parenthesis. I might as well add a dot. And now I have the feeling like, yeah, but I don't have a dot here, don't have a dot here, or a period. So why would I have a period here? It's an inconsistent, you know, nothing has... The questions of life. Yeah, this one also does not start with an uppercase S. You know what? I'm gonna remove it. That way we are kind of consistent. Now here I would not think about not adding the period. It's just an English sentence. Start with an uppercase, etc. And I have to say then, if you see that in the debug output, it reads much better, and then suddenly you start to wish that there are more periods. Like this one, updating. And no period at the end. Gonna add one. It's already string there anyway. And this one I could add a period just because. That would be a period all by itself. Oh no. So let's wait until I get really annoyed by looking at the debug output for that one. Okay, so here we have another case of whatever I was doing. Debug name and then print string around it. And then put it between parentheses. Share resource. Okay. Well, let's try to keep it within this monitor width at the moment. What do we have next? Another ambifix too? No, we don't. But we still have one here. This, and then you get here print string, I guess. Debug owner. What is the owner? And the owner is something, probably whatever I have. Debug name. Let me check the type. It's a base pointer. Yeah. Right, let's see how the create looks like. Oh, we don't have that anymore. What? Oh, we like that. Oh yeah, this one. Let's fix this one first. Fix it. Yeah, what about this name here? We have an owning window. I'm not going to pass an ambifix to this function. That's not necessary. I think what the correct way would be to construct an ambifix here. I'm really not understanding this, really, not really. Just getting it from there. Share resource, who cares? It was, I don't know. Pointer to. Oh, right. So the shader resource itself. No. No. What the hell's going on here? Let me first do this. We have an owning window. I can call on that the debug name prefix. Which takes a prefix string. Typical device. This one is it's this one. Takes a prefix string. Yeah, makes sense. So I could just pass the debug name here. Could pass this as ambifix, I think. We have a look at the can, what this is doing. See, there is a problem with this. This is not the canonical thing. It's not a unique pointer. It's just a handle. You can make copies of it. And then at the same time it does have a memory allocation. Maybe that's the reason. It has a destroy buffer. Okay, it's using the allocator to destroy the buffer. I guess that after that we also lost the device. So I'm gonna assume that this buffer is indeed owning thing. AKA it really represents the buffer, not just a handle to it. And it's the base class of this memory uniform buffer, which is stored in M uniform buffers at a certain index. And that's what we're using here. So the ambifix here should be equal to the current object. Which is this shader resource. So I need to know the name of the shader resource, and the shader resource has a debug name, which is in the name, and which should be stored in the window of the user class derived from the owning window. And I'm gonna assume that it's the case, right? I mean, yeah. Well. So this is kind of wrong. I think it's time to start compiling. It says the print string does not exist. Did you mean debug print string? I thought that macro would be using debug, shouldn't it? So I don't have to put debug in front of everything inside my debug macro. Because you do not get to see what that is. Nope. I want to see it. Let's opt. Dash. I think the source is here. Let me just do a find. A find for a file that contains damn it, I've got it. The out entering. Possible. Possible. Does not define the out entering. I suppose it doesn't. It does define the out. Loads of them. Also not helping. Oh, here it is. Surprisingly enough. So this begins with the scope begin, which does a using namespace libcwd. But not a namespace, well, that wouldn't be, it would be called differently, but it's still not here. Okay, well, good enough for me. And then we'll just what was the error? Here it works. So probably I did include namespace debug here. Don't see it. I do not see it. I will like that. Using namespace debug print string. So that will be a way. I guess these were I just added, so they won't work. Yeah. I had the feeling I did not do that right. I'm an idiot. Simply using. Right, and then we still have this left. Also a .cxx file. So let's also add that at the top. It would probably make more sense to do that inside the macro, however. Oh, debug name, never added debug name. So must be added to base. Right, no type, named print string in namespace debug. I'll let Ron that knows it. Now I'm confused. Oh, I'm doing it wrong again. Did that one wrong. It compiles, isn't it unbelievable? Now I have, let's say, M left position. Or not. Come on, what did it do? There is one. Well, that's a sample texture. So at least that still works then, I guess. That's the one that I left empty, because we're not creating anything. So here we see how that is used. Oh, there is M top buffer, M left buffer. I was typing in something else, M left position. Okay, entering base, and then we just print the debug names. And then later we get created VK buffer with allocation name. What's this? So I don't know why it starts over here. Probably because the terminal doesn't understand my color codes, which are not even visible now. So got this many invisible color codes are in it, and then it thinks that the line is too long or something like that. Very annoying. Bugs. Anyway, it prints M left buffer dot M uniform buffers, and then we have as index the frame resource number 0 dot M validation. Looks good, right? And it even prints the window pointer. So this should be correct, because M left buffer is indeed a member of the window, even though this is the pointer to the base class. But that's the same as a pointer to my user class, so works for me. And here's the top buffer. I'm having a lot of frame resources. Well, 2 or 3 should be enough. 8, 9, I think I have 10 of them. Right, well, this is strange. This thing here is pointer to the shader resource, which has this debug name. And here we have another one. This looks suspiciously like a temporary object. Or what is this? So lock and unlock print something else. Well, that's this pointer of set mutex and set handles, apparently. Yeah, between square brackets I should print this pointer always. So I know it is this. But kind of confusing to print within the square brackets, then between parentheses the name. So it's, yeah, nah. Maybe that's easier to understand. Same thing here. Still have this delete somewhere, or do I not? So that's not correct then, it is used. Or is it? I don't think this one is used. Well, even though it isn't used, I'll give it a name. Okay, but well, in that case, I think we can do a git commit. Sorry, I was not looking at the chat. I'm looking at it now again. People saying Yeah, I don't know. Repeat the question if it's urgent, please. I'm looking at chat again. Oh, there was one really good question. What FIXME am I working on? I'll show that in a second. I think I got distracted while doing this. I want to see it clean. Push. I was working, however, on something totally unrelated, namely that one. And then I got distracted by this. When does this happen? Okay, so that happens when we do not find the set index hint that we're looking for. And so I wondered what the hell is, are we looking in? And we're looking in whatever this is returning, which, oh, I was working, yeah, now I remember. I was going to rewrite my readmes. Do I really still want to do that? I don't want to, but I probably have to. Or shoot, or something like that. Yeah, I was going to rewrite this one. Okay, so user defines shader resource uniform buffer top position, and then they have to pass a debug name. I don't know to put that in here, do I? I don't think so. And then the debug buffer base contains a key and the list of members that are part of top position. And that is the case for this one as well. And then we have binding 0. Yeah, this does look different at the moment. Should look at it again. Let's look, let's generate this thing again. Because I completely forgot how it looks like. So right now we just have a layout and then have the members inside of that. So this becomes more like yeah, how can I remove this? Can you do something like substitute space? No, substitute anything with space. No. Okay, clearly that does not work on the... I'm just gonna cut it. Let's cut the whole thing on, right up to the... Scary, but for now we're going to do this one as well. And then paste it here. And these lines can just be removed, I guess. Yay, okay. And then here the struct is going to be removed, and this becomes, well, let's just type it in again, left position. And these can be removed then. Yeah, that's how the layout looks now, I mean. Each table element contains one shader resource declaration. Fix your include path, alif. If the file exists on your hard disk, you have to tell the compiler which directory to search in. Apparently I left out the bottom, but it's not even mentioned here, so I guess that's okay. Each table element contains one shader resource declaration. Yeah, that's kind of what it is, isn't it? We have one shader resource member per GLSL ID full. These are the GLSL ID fools then, the strings. And then this is the member index 01, just 001. The basic type, mat to float, no basic type. mat4 float. Offset in the array 016, doesn't matter, 064. Yeah, by now I wonder why this readme exists, because it isn't telling me anything new. As I didn't already know. It has become way more complex in the meantime. And all that information is not here. I think I wrote this readme when I was still confused about relationships between set numbers, bindings and declarations or something like that. I mean, it does contain some information, but it's kind of funny to think that at some point I didn't understand this, so I had to write this. Anyway, okay, we have another one which is more important. This one. Now it's more on topic. The user must define a template specialization of shader variable layouts that reflect the layout of custom structs before defining those structs. Such definitions make use of predefined types for all basic types, scalar vectors and matrices. The exact definition of those types depend on the chosen standard. Yeah, no, I'm not sure about that. Well, okay, it's a I would say that maybe the custom structs. And scalar is not a thing apparently. It's called packed. Although my code is calling it scalar. I should rename that. Guess that's what I'll do. Okay, am I 100% sure that it's called packed? I couldn't find it back the other day. What happens if I do a search for, let's say, what? What we want to do is what uses the scalar layout specifier when accessing a storage buffer in GLX scalar block layout. See below, for example. I was already looking below and I don't see it. Oh, here's the scalar. Ah, right. Well, then it looks like it does exist, doesn't it? if you use the extension scale up block layout. STD140 and STD430 layouts do quite a bit of a rounding off offsets and layouts, blah blah blah. Scale layout means basically to layout the objects in accord with their component scalars. Anything that aggregates components, vector measurements does not affect the layout. So apparently it does exist. I must have been confused. I'll keep calling it scalar then. Although it's part of an extension. Not sure if this is GL. Yeah, probably doesn't matter. I'm normally not supporting that in my program yet. One might think that it would be possible to include a namespace prior to declaring the layout specialization. Well, the sentence isn't very clear, but okay. If you read the whole sentence, it becomes clear. So I mean doing something like using namespace STD140. Therefore, the standard is declared by deriving from a base class that defines the required types, but otherwise has a size of 0. Struct my foo, namespace vulkan shadow builder. Template, shader variable layouts. So that's really part of this namespace, not what it says here. Yeah, let's be more accurate. What really is done is this. Should probably use an example where my foo is part of a namespace. Is possible, I think. It must be possible. Okay, I'm having another specialization in front of that. The standard here is actually also a macro thing. So that would be the SCD 140. And this goes in front of it, although it's not that important, I guess. Right, well, let's add an array. Why not? What is MF here? So MF float, yeah, okay. Matrix, right. That's an array of 7 floats. It's not member, right? It's layout these days. How shall I formulate this? Note that neither float nor mod3 are types that can contain a float or a matrix of floats respectively. Yep, they are not encoding an offset. I mean, not the float and the mod4. What do they encode? Jesus. Well, I guess this one. Encode row, call and scalar type. That is all. Already is. Well, I have it on GitHub. See description for the link to GitHub. Is this still correct? Just copy it. What still looked correct? But float is not in itself this thing. It's more like the way I should say. This is why I say the alignment. Well, yeah, so alignment. Yeah, how do we do this? I guess it's nonsensical now because it's written as a C++ struct. And now we have that format. Yeah, what other types do we have? I forgot, dude, really. Like 4. Let's pick a random one. Hello, nice guy. Are these things even defined in GLSL still? I don't know. Let's see. I better look for Vectory, I guess. This is double 1, yeah, Vec3, which is then defined in namespace GLSL, okay. Well, the nice guy, that depends on your skill level, doesn't it? So, how many years of C++ experience did you have, you said? Layout. Think about moving the comma into the macro, but it's not possible because the last one cannot have a comma. See, that's what I mean. Keep confusing the commas and the semicolons. Layout, fact4, mod3, comma, var3. I don't think to really. I don't think it becomes really easier to tell something that's not true, right? I'm just gonna delete this, I think. Maybe I should demand, not sure, but I could use put a 0, 1, 2 here as well. Yeah. Because then they would really look exactly the same. I feel something is missing here. I would rather first add a paragraph about how to use these things. So in this case, it's a uniform STD 140, which is really just for uniform buffers. So I have this one. Okay, so the above uses uniform STD 140 as an example. Right. I also have uniform scalar and push constant scalar, obviously. Apparently I do not have push constant 140. Let's just not mention it. Not even sure if there is a extension for that at all. What was the other one? Yeah, okay, so let's add a new paragraph that says yeah, well, I need a better name for class, that's clear. Keep using it here, class. I would call it prefix, but it's just struct name, right? So I'll just use my data here. Yeah. It's kind of like the same thing for the shader vertexing things. What are? Let's have a look. I guess using namespace is only used in documentation, in tutorials. Then suddenly you want to have short lines. Yeah, push constant is just pushed. It's not declared. It's not, does not have internal state. Oops. No, what happened? Okay. So we are now here, and I'm typing. Post bunny. It's dinner time. Well, everything started to hurt. Which is probably a good thing if I quit. Bunny, I'm losing everything with risk. Makes me sad. I've been losing like crazy, like everything. Chess also. I think I dropped 100 rating points on light chess in a few days' time. Let's call it registration as well. I guess it's never going to be enough documentation. I'll just have to look at the examples, I guess. But this is a start. Vertex input binding. Let me guess. Add uniform buffer. Oh, there's more. Oh, I can also do it like this. Yeah, it's not C++. It's like optionally add other arguments. But this has to be done inside the initialize function of something derived from Vulkan pipeline characteristic. Yes, seriously. Okay, I think we got that. Just Neymar, hello. Okay, I'm going off stream. Something popped up. Yes, were, and I was going to quit anyway.